everyone, and welcome to another week of Creative Household Play. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Zoe and I work here at Family Futures Resource Network, and this week I'm going to be taking you through 3 more activities, all with commonly used household items. So all of these things you're either going to have in your home or it will have a substitution for something that you'll have in your home. And each week we do one activity for toddlers, one for preschoolers, and one for our school-age kiddos. So let's get started. We have 3 really fun things to do this week. Our first activity is our toddler activity, though kids of all ages really like this one. We are going to make Play-Doh. So there's a lot of different recipes out there to make Play-Doh. Some of them more complicated than others, but I'm going to show you a really easy one and you're going to have everything at your house already, which is awesome. So to make Play-Doh, you need just a few ingredients. So as you can see here, I have flour. Normally I would hold my ingredients up, but this weighs the amount of a small child, so I'm not going to lift it up. But just regular white all-purpose flour works great. You are going to need vegetable oil. So any kind of vegetable oil is fine. Canola oil, corn oil, anything like that works great. You will also need table salt. So salt like this, make sure it's finely ground, not coarse ground. You will also need food coloring. Today I'm going to do blue, but you can use any color that you want. And then you will need a large bowl, a wooden spoon, and measuring cups as well. So there's also an optional ingredient that you can use here, and that is cream of tartar. If you have this on hand, some people do, some people don't, it is so handy because it makes your dough super smooth with a lot less effort. So if you have cream of tartar, put that to the side as well. You'll definitely use it. I don't have any today, so I'm going to make it without, but if you have it, it makes your dough much better. So you're going to take your bowl and you are going to measure out 2 cups of flour, half a cup of salt, it's a lot of salt, and 2 tablespoons of your vegetable oil. So you're going to mix that all together in your bowl, and then you're going to boil some water off to the side. So once you have your vegetable oil, your flour, your salt, add your food coloring in there and give it a little mix. It's just going to be like little bubbles of food coloring for now, but that's fine. When we add the water, then it's going to spread out. So once you have that, you are going to take your boiling water. Be careful because this is going to be really, really hot now. So make sure you're using your wooden spoon and not kneading your dough with your hands at this point. You're going to pour about a cup to a cup and a half of your boiling water into your flour mixture. So start with less, and if you need to add more, you can. If your dough is too dry and crumbly, you're going to want to add more water. If your dough is too sticky and sticks to your hands, you're going to want to add more flour. So you're going to mix that with your wooden spoon once you've added your boiling water in there. Keep in mind your dough is going to be super hot, so once you've mixed it as much as you possibly can with your wooden spoon, set it to the side and leave it for a few minutes until it's cool to touch. And then once it's cool to touch, you're going to get in there with your hands and you're going to knead your dough. So it takes a little while to knead it to make it smooth. This is the dough that I have made. This is blue. You can see, well, you might be able to see that it's a little bit speckly. So if you have cream of tartar, it tends to make your dough really smooth and the color really uniform, but it still works just fine like this. And you can see when I touch it, it doesn't stick to my hands. So that's the texture that you want, and it's really soft and easy to mold. So you're going to knead your dough until it looks like this. And then once you have it looking like this, you are good to go and you can play with it. So you can take off little chunks, you can sculpt it into things, you can use toys, cookie cutters, just various kitchen utensils can be really fun to use in Play-Doh as well. And you can let your kiddos go for it. Play-Doh lasts for quite a while, so you can keep it in your fridge and until it starts to smell funky or have spots, you can keep using it. It's better to let it warm up to room temperature before you play with it. It makes the texture a little bit better, but you can keep it for quite a while, which is awesome. Toddlers love this, older kids love it as well, so good for all ages. So that is our Play-Doh. We are going to move now into doing our preschooler activity, which is a wood and rock puzzle. So don't worry if you don't have any access to wood or rocks, you can easily do this with materials that you have on hand. But if you do have access to wood and rocks, either chunks of a 2x4 or just a large piece of wood, you can use that. If you don't have any wood, you can use cardboard from an unfolded cardboard box or from a cereal box or anything like that. You can also just use paper, and that works fine too. And you can also do this on your driveway, using your driveway as your surface and chalk as your writing instrument. So you'll need wood if you have wood, or one of those other surfaces that I mentioned, and then you will need rocks. So if your rocks are kind of smallish, and the weirder the shapes the better, that's ideal for this activity, but any rocks are fine. And if you have no access to smallish rocks, just use any kind of items that you have in your house that are going to have a bit of an unusual shape. So like fridge magnets work really good for this. Coins work well, different shaped toys work good for this too. But yeah, so that's what you can use. So you need an item to outline, and then you need a surface to outline it on. So for this one, I'm going to show you with wood and rocks. So I have these little wood discs here, and then I have rocks. So you're going to place your rock onto your piece of wood and trace around the outline of your rock. And when you pull it away, you'll have a little outline that looks a little bit like that. If you have assorted pieces of wood and assorted rocks, you can do a bunch of them and then set them in a little basket that looks like this. I like using wood and rocks because it's great to include more natural elements in your kiddo's play area if you can. But again, like I said, any items will do just fine. So once you have your little assortment like this, you can mix them all up in your basket, and then your kiddos can practice matching the rocks to the right shape. So this one has kind of like a weird little indent in the top, and so does this outline on here. So this is the rock that would match with that puzzle piece. So if you're using something like cardboard and just random household items, you would do the same thing where you would outline the items, put your items into a little basket, and then your child would have to find which item matched in which spot to complete their little puzzle. Your child can also make this themselves if they're a little bit older, and lots of kids have a really fun time creating their own puzzles. So very easy activity to do as well. So that is our wood and rock puzzle. Our third and final activity that we're going to do today is for our school-age kiddos, and this one is called recycling bowling. So this is a fun one, pretty silly, and you can use it with materials that you have on hand. So what you will need is a large, relatively soft ball. So something like this works great. Any bigger in the bowling tends to become a little bit too easy. So this size or smaller is good. And not too hard because your kids are going to be rolling these around in your house and you don't want to break anything. So soft is good. You will also need recycling items that are going to stand up on end. So I don't have too many to show you here today for the demonstration, but things like empty pop bottles work great. Paper towel roll tubes work really well. Toilet paper tubes, that kind of thing. If you don't have any of those, using full paper towel rolls works great. I have toilet paper, so that's what I'm going to use as my demo today. So if you're using toilet paper, you might want to build it into a little stack like this. And then you're going to set up for bowling. So if you have a hallway in your house, this is a great thing to use. At one end of your hallway, you're going to stack up all your quote-unquote bowling pins, which would be your pop bottles, your paper towel rolls, your toilet paper rolls, things like that. You can also just use a random assortment of all of them. They don't have to all be pop bottles or all be paper towel rolls. And then at the other end of your hall, your kiddo's going to be set up with their ball, and they're going to roll their ball down the hallway and try to knock over as many of the bowling pins as they can. So this is a really fun one. Kids can play this independently where they set it up and then bowl and set it up and then bowl. Siblings can play together. You can have a family tournament, whatever you like. And it's really easy. It doesn't require any special items, all things that you would have thrown in the recycle bin anyway. So that is our third and final activity for this week. So we made Play-Doh, we made a puzzle, and we did some recycling bowling. Next week we'll be back Monday at 10 a.m. to do 3 brand new activities, all easy to do with household items. So we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week. Bye.